Good morning, ma. Welcome to Alpha Online Education. Commerce CID part for the first year's English medium chapter that we are dealing with. That is the 9th chapter, Source of Business Finance. This is the third session of the chapter. So in this session, we are going to know the differences between the equity shares and the preference shares. So let us see the differences. Choice of issue. So issue of equity shares is compulsory, but the issue of preference shares is not at all a compulsory. Okay, the issue of equity shares is compulsory. Next, payment of dividend. Dividend is paid after paying the dividend to the on preference shareholders. The equity shareholders will receive the dividend after preference shareholders have been received. Okay. Here the dividend is paid before paying dividend to the equity shareholders. Yes. First the equity shareholders will receive the dividend. After that equity shareholders will receive the dividend. Rate of dividend. The rate of dividend is not fixed. The rate of dividend is not fixed in case of equity shareholders, and the equity shareholders dividend is decided by the board of directors of the company. But whereas come to preference shares, that is prefixed, means mundugane fix chesi pedtaru. So rate of dividend for the preference shareholders is prefixed and pre-communicated. Next, voting rights. Equity shareholders don't have have the voting right. Preference shareholders have no voting right. Next, risk profile. It is highly risky and it is less risky. Next one is speculation. Speculation means investing in certain asset with an intention or with knowing that there is a risk while investing in certain assets. So there is a scope for speculation in equity shares, but there is no any kind of scope for speculation because the preference shareholders does not want to take the risk, but the equity shareholders want to take the risk and profit. So there is a scope for speculation. Next one, bonus shares. So bonus shares means additional shares. So equity shareholders will receive the bonus shares, but the preference shareholders will not receive the bonus shares. Next, return of capital. So in case of winding up, the capital is refunded after the payment of preference share capital. After giving the preference share capital, whatever the preference share capital brought by the preference shareholders, after making the settlement of that preference share capital, after that only the equity shareholders will get their preference share capital during the winding up of the company. Winding up means during the closing of the company. So in case of winding up of the capital, capital is repaid before the equity shares. So before the equity shareholders receiving the capital, before the equity shareholder receiving the capital, the preference shareholders will receive the capital. So this is the differences between equity shares and preference shares. Let us meet with the other topic in the other session. Yes.